I enjoy landscapes. I like to go hiking. I like to go for runs. I like to cycle. I love nature, so I think for that reason, landscape comes pretty easy to me.
Okay, good. So you've been shooting for how many years now?
3.5 years.
Only 3.5 years?
Only 3.5 years.
Wonderful, wonderful. And you're using Canon at the moment?
Yes, I'm using Canon at the moment.
So let's just dive into your portfolio. We've got a few pictures here that you're going to run through. Can you just talk us through some of these? Obviously, we have a picture up here on the screen. I think for most photographers in Asia Pacific, they should recognise this.
Yes, they should.
So can you just chat through this one first of all?
This is obviously Angkor Wat, but if you've been to Angkor Wat to shoot the sunrise, you will know that everybody is behind the pool. And when you get there, there are about 100 photographers there. Everybody gets the same shot. So to me, I was standing right in front because I went there early, and then I realized so is everybody else, so what's the point? So I moved out from there and I stopped looking on top and I started looking at the bottom. Then I started realizing all these pink flowers, all the maroon flowers. And to me, this looks better than the actual building.
Yeah, and that's very true. It's all in these popular tourist spots, and I'm very much like you. I hate them because any place that there's 100 other photographers, I like to get away from. But when you're forced into it, you need to look for something different.
That's right. Which is why I took this shot.
So that's straight into the water,
Yeah, straight into the water.
Okay, let's just run through some of your other photographs, Chris. Okay. Wow.
Most people think this looks like some amazing tourist spot, but actually this is just a souvenir center for tourists in the tourist area near Angkor Wat.
Okay.
But the sticks on top actually creates a very nice shadow at the bottom, so it creates a very nice perspective, which is why I took this shot.
Amazing light, and that just shows you that a very ordinary location can become a wonderful photography shot.
Exactly. I think beauty is anywhere.
Yeah.
It's what your eye perceives, what you perceive. So you can actually shoot beauty. You don't need an extraordinary landscape to get a wonderful shot. You can be in a city and you can still get a wonderful shot.
It's all about light. And
exactly.
Just chat a little bit about some of the lenses that you normally use.
Okay. I only have 2 lenses. Only 2. I use the Canon ultrawide 1740 f4L for my ultrawide shots. I also do this for a bit of my family shots for 40mm, 35mm, which is good enough. And also a 70-200 f4 LIS. There's only 2 lenses that I own.
Okay.
I know a lot of people like to own a lot of lenses. They say you should have this, you should have that. But to me, it's all about the images that you capture, not about what you own, what this lens can do for you. But as long as you capture that moment, the feel that you get. Very,
very true. In fact, I listened to an interview of the famous Steve McCurry.
Okay.
And I actually met him in Singapore a couple of years ago, and I was stunned. Of course, he always gets asked the usual question: what lenses do you use? What camera do you use? And I was shocked that he travels with one body and one lens, 24/70.
That's it.
And that's it. So yeah, you're right. You don't need that many lenses. Now, in terms of filters, I don't think there's a filter on this one.
Oh no, there's no filter on this one.
Maybe we could run through some of your other ones.
There's no filter on this one. There is a filter on this one.
And can you talk a little bit about what kind of filter system you're using?
Okay. Currently for this shot, 2-stop graduated neutral density filter, because you can see the sky is a lot brighter than this ocean, so therefore we need to balance out the light. Therefore, this is why the filters are needed here. And
this is Penang, correct?
This is Penang, yes.
Okay, well I guess you're an expert in landscape around Penang, having lived all your life there.
Yeah, true. I won't say an expert, but I tend to go places which most people don't go. Like places like this. This is like an abandoned jetty. So most people will not go to an abandoned jetty at 6 in the morning. So if you want to take different shots, you got to go different
And I think
places.
That's very important for landscape photography is location.
Yes,
location, and getting to some place that other people don't get to.
Exactly. And most people are wondering, are you sure this is Penang? I've lived Penang all my life, I've never seen these places. This is what you find. This is also in Penang, which a lot of people don't know. This is it's actually a broken up fisherman's jetty. Fisherman's dock. This is actually a floating platform. So it's actually moving most of the time.
So that must have been quite a tricky
Yes,
shot to take. How did
is.
you cope with that? If that jetty is moving.
Yeah, it's tough actually. So, but when the tide is low, it doesn't move as much. So there's always a time to when the tide comes in and the tide goes out.
Okay.
One tide after the next one. So you have to time yourself.
Because I presume for all of these shots you're taking this on tripod.
Yes,
and not
all on
handheld.
tripod.
Yeah,
Correct.
all on
But in this shot, I had to make a very fast adjustment to ISO 400 1/25 because if I took the normal landscape shot, all this would have been blurred because the fishermen are moving. They just started the boat,
Yeah.
which is why I managed to capture the smoke coming up from the diesel engine.
Yeah. Wonderful. Oh, tell us about this shot. This looks nice. It looks like a long exposure, is it?
Yes, it's a very long exposure. It's a 68-second exposure. This one is a cloud is on top, actually framing the bridge. The reflection actually frames the Penang Bridge here. It's a 68-second exposure. There's no filters used here because it was still quite dark.
Oh.
But the long exposure allows us to sort of freeze the ocean.
But there's a very nice balance there between the sky and the water.
Yes.
Surprisingly, with no filter. Yeah.
No filters at all.
Yeah.
Because it was early, it was still pretty dark. So, and the tide. If you notice, if you go to Penang on the east coast around here, the tides are not strong because the main ocean is actually on the left-hand side and north. So the eastern side and southeast, the tides are actually very mild.
It's interesting that because I talk to a lot of people like that. Landscape photography, it's most of it is not about the photography. It's about the location and knowing the location, where the tide's going to be, what time the sun gets up, how you actually get there.
Yes.
So 90% of it is getting to the location, the proper location at the right time.
Correct.
And the small percentage is actually taking the shot.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in places like Penang, this is a,
that's stunning.
to me, it's a once in a lifetime shot. So we came in a group to shoot this place in the morning. There wasn't much, and everybody left. I stayed back because I saw these two fishermen there. They were throwing their nets. So after I finished shooting them, I came back. I was about to go back when I noticed to the south of this picture, south of Penang, there was a huge cloud that was slowly moving forward. So I decided to wait for it because it was, I mean, I've lived in Penang all my life. I've never seen such a cloud. It was extraordinary.
Yeah.
So I waited for it until it covered the sun and see the rays came out and I shot this. And this cloud was so big. I shot this using my ultra wide lens, and it's like about half the size of the cloud.
Wow.
So it was huge. I've never seen a cloud this big before.
But again, that shows you with landscape photography, it's all about timing.
Yes.
And I've been in that situation many times where you're on a location and you think you've got the shot, you're almost packing up, and it's always wise to sit and wait a little bit longer, have patience, and certainly paid off there, Chris.
Yeah, you'll never know.
Yeah.
And with these two people here, it actually, to me, it makes a lot of difference to this picture. It actually gives a sense of scale to it.
Absolutely, yeah.
And without them, it's like so plain, empty. So,
Okay.